Hello everyone. In this class, we will learn how to actually create a JavaScript and then see the desired output or to see the desired result. So first of all, one thing to remember is since JavaScript is a scripting language, it cannot run on its own, meaning that this JavaScript cannot be seen in the browser by itself. So to make it possible or to make it visible inside the browser to the user, we will write our JavaScript code along with our HTML codes. So since we have already learned the structure of HTML, I won't be discussing about that. But this JavaScript, it can be written anywhere inside our HTML documents. It can be written in the head section or it can be written inside a body section. This JavaScript, we can use it in two ways. One is internal JavaScript and then another one is external. Internal matlab, or we can write our JavaScript code inside our HTML pages, and then if we use an external method, it can be written in a separate file. We can write the JavaScript code in a separate file and then save with a .js extension. So a JavaScript has a file extension of .js as HTML have a .html. So first of all, let's try to see how to create or how to write a JavaScript code internally. So in this tutorial, we will learn how to write to a browser using JavaScript. So whenever you start writing your JavaScript code, you can write anywhere inside your HTML pages wherever you want it to appear. So to create a JavaScript code, the tag is script. So whenever you are to start writing your JavaScript code, always indicate the script tag. After that, let's write document to write. So this is a syntax on how to write to a browser. So this JavaScript is a case sensitive, meaning that we should write accurately whether it's in small letters or any capital letters. Out here everything is in small letters. So document dot write. After that, inside the bracket in double quotation, let's write hello, this is my first JavaScript code. So after that, let's stop here with a semicolon. So out here, this is a JavaScript syntax to write to our browser, document to write. After that, inside the bracket and double quotation, whatever is written out here, this is the visible part inside our browser. So whenever you write a JavaScript code, for example, inside this quotation, if we make grammatical errors or spelling errors, it doesn't matter because this will be displayed inside the browser as it is. So let's close the script. So always remember to close the JavaScript code once it is done. So let's save this one. I will save inside my folder JavaScript code. After that, let me give JavaScript 1.html. So since we are writing along with HTML, we have to we have to save it as HTML documents. So let's save this one. After that, let's go to our browser and then run it. So whatever JavaScript code we have written in our notepad out here, this one, it will be visible inside our browser like this. So that's how we can write a simple JavaScript code and then write it to our browser. Now this is the method what we use is internal JavaScript. Now let us try to create the same JavaScript code using external method. So let's remove this one. After that, let's open a new notepad file and then let's write the same JavaScript code and then let's save this one. Save as let's save this one as JS, not instead of JS. Let's write JavaScript dot JS. So since we are saving this one as a separate JavaScript file, let's save it as .js. After that, let's save this one. Now we have a separate JavaScript code and then we have an HTML code. Now if you want to use this particular or if you want to embed this particular JavaScript file inside our HTML, we have to link it this one. So we have to write it inside this heading tag. So before that one, let's go back to our folder. Out here I have my HTML page and then JavaScript code here. Let's create a new folder and then let's write JS. Now let's keep this JavaScript code inside this JS folder. Now JavaScript 1.html is my HTML documents and then inside my JS folder I have JavaScript .js as a JavaScript file. Now if you want to use that particular JavaScript code inside this HTML page, let's go back here. After that, to use that one or to link a JavaScript code inside our HTML page, the tag is script. Let's specify the type is equal to text slash JavaScript. After that is rc source is equal to, we have to link to that particular JavaScript code. So that particular JavaScript code is inside JS folder and then the file name is JavaScript code.js. So source js slash JavaScript.js. After let's close this one. After that let's close the script. So if you are using an external method, we have to link it this way. Script, after that type is JavaScript, after source, after that you have to define the path where your particular JavaScript code is. Now let's save this one. After that, if we go back to the browser and then refresh it again, we will get the same output. So it depends whether you want it to use as an external JavaScript or an internal JavaScript, so you can follow any method. Now after that, let's try to create a simple JavaScript program using this internal JavaScript method. So as I've said, you can use either external or else internal. So let's give one heading. After that, let's try to create a small program on how to add two numbers using JavaScript. Now let's save this one as a separate file. Let's see sum, or instead of sum, let's give addition.html as a file name. So if we go back to our browser and then addition to JavaScript code, we'll get this one, how to add two numbers using JavaScript. So that is the heading I have specified just now. So let's go back to our HTML page. After that, let's start writing our JavaScript code script. Now we have learned in our last classes what are variables. So in brief, variables are like a storage area where we can save the value for a specific time, after which we can use it later on inside our programs. So to declare a variable in JavaScript, it is var. So the keyword used is var to create a variable in JavaScript var. After that, let's say a is equal to 1. That means the variable a will store the value 1, comma. After that, let's say b is equal to, let's say, 2. After that, let's give semicolon as a delimiter. Now to while creating a JavaScript code, instead of writing this one, if you want to write in other way, we can write like this also. So it's same, either you write like this or else after a comma b is equal to 2. So now we have a two variable a and then p. The variable a will store the value or hold the value 1, and then the vertex variable p will hold the value 2. Now again, let's declare one more variable, let's say sum is equal to a. After that, let's give the operator plus sign, after that p. So the variable sum will store the value of addition of a and then p. Now let's write the same syntax JavaScript code we have written just before, document dot, right? After that, since now we want to find the addition, we have to call our variable. That means these variables they will store the value. After those value we can be used anywhere inside our code, wherever we want to use it. So since we want to use it here, let's write sum without double quotation while calling your variables inside here. Do not give double quotation. After that, let's close our script. So here, if we call the variable a, it will display the value 1. If we call the value p, it will display the value 2 inside our browser. But since now we want to display the addition of the variable a and b, and then the formula is written already out here, we have to call this variable sum. So make sure that whatever variable you are going to use is same. So whenever you write variable name, everything is in small letters. So we are calling this variable out here. So let's save this one. Let's go back to the browser. After that, it should display 3. So the output is displayed out here. Now if you want to write something before this one, let's go back here. After that, here we have to write it inside double quotation. The sum of a and b is double quotation, right? So whatever we have written in double quotation will be displayed to our browser as it is. After that, along with this one, we want to display the variable, the value of that variable, so we have to add plus. So let's save this one. Let's go back. After that, when we refresh it, it will display the sum of a and b is 3. So that's how we perform assemble, addition, and subtraction. So since this JavaScript you are used to create dynamic web pages or to make a website more interactive, to display the output of this addition, it can be done in various ways. So instead of using writing to our browser, we can use some alert box, or we can display the output along with some buttons. So we will be learning that one in our uh, upcoming tutorials. So if you have any problem, please ask in Google Classroom or else through WhatsApp.